I seen Angie last night. She's still on life support per se. She's able to write notes to me. She can't breathe on her own, so she's intubated and she has an airway still inside. She's not eating or drinking. She has a PEG tube, so that nourishes her both for food and water. She's not able to talk. She can motion her hands and motion her head. And then she wrote me a note, because my first question to her after we cried and hugged each other and everything like that, because before when I seen her she was heavily sedated, but I asked her, I'm like, oh my God, I said, how come you didn't leave when you heard the alarms and heard all the screaming? And she told me that when she tried to exit the room, the smoke and the fire was so intense that she closed the door and quickly went into the closet in our bedroom and closed the door. So Hunter was actually being held by her and died in her arms from the smoke exposure inside the closet. She said that she tried to stay awake as long as she could, but she said that she knew that she was going to die and she thought she had died. She woke up at the Misericordia Hospital. Wanted to give an update on Hunter. We're not having a funeral for him. The families too broke up and we don't want to see him again after an autopsy. It's a very, I worked as a nurse for a long time, and after an autopsy it's not a pleasant scene to see a body like that, and none of us in the family think that we can handle that kind of a stress at this moment. So he's going to be cremated. We'll put an obituary in the paper in the next couple days, and it's not that we don't love him or we don't care about him. It's just the well-being of the family that's left living. We have to move on, and we want to remember him by the pictures that we have. We don't want to see him in the state that I was the only person that seen him after his death at the U of A. I seen him, and I wish I would never have seen him, because it was the most traumatic experience that I've ever experienced. I've worked as a nurse for many years, and I've seen a lot of dead babies. I've seen a lot of dead people, hundreds of dead people. But when it's your own blood and your own family member, like the contortion of his face and the color of his skin and everything, it's something I'll never ever forget. It's the most terrible thing. Most terrible thing. I wish I didn't see him, but anyhow, no one else in the family has seen him, and they're not willing to see him. We're just going to cremate him, and our memory of him will be happy memories of when he was still alive. I want to reiterate the GoFundMe pages again. The money we're collecting is going to be used to cover anything for everyone who lost stuff in the fire that's not insured, and to pay the reward for whoever provides information that leads to the arrest and prosecution of whoever did this, the arson, the murder, and the attempted murders, and the vandalism in the neighborhood. The insurance company, I've been dealing with investigators for days now, 3-4 days now. The insurance company isn't willing to release any kind of funds until there's more of a definite answers to the fire. Fire investigators worked all day yesterday, and they're still here today. One of them just left. So it could take up to 4 months before any kind of monies are released to cover any of the costs that we've incurred not having a house or clothes or food or anything like that. The house is scheduled for demolition. It'll be in the next couple days that the whole house, everything will be gone. We have no intention of moving back into the house. We can't live in a house that our son died in.
What have investigators been telling you? They've been giving you any updates on?
It's for sure an arson. The fire has for sure started at the front porch, and it was for sure started with accelerants. So somebody intentionally started the fire, and they used accelerants to start the fire. It's an arson, and it's a homicide. The homicide investigators have explained to me that when the person or persons is arrested, they're facing numerous charges for vandalism, arson, murder, attempted murder, and it'll be up to like the prosecutors to decide how many charges of attempted murder they'll face. But it's going to be very serious. I volunteered to do the lie detector test because I'd like to be eliminated as a suspect. I think as soon as I'm eliminated as a suspect, then efforts could be focused on who really did the crime. I've said this before, I have nothing to gain. Hunter, Angie, and me, all of our life insurance policies don't come into effect until September. So I have no monetary gain on Hunter's death. The only thing that I have is losses. He's a fertility baby. We paid more than $50,000 to bring him into this world.
Lastly, I'm sure the meeting between you and Angie yesterday was very emotional. What did you guys say to each other? What did you say to her?
Sorry, we love you. Get better soon. I told her we can get new dogs. We can try and have another kid. We can build a new life. Like, life, it feels at this point like it's stopped and that we'll never recover, but when you buy a new puppy, in my experience in life is when you lose your dog, you cry and you cry and you cry, but then when you buy a new puppy, it's not the same puppy, but you know, you see the happiness of a baby puppy, like they're happy, they're friendly, and you fall in love with them. And I'm hoping that's the same way with a kid. You have that new individual that comes into your life and you love that boy or girl with your whole heart and your whole soul and your whole mind, and never replace Hunter. He's not replaceable because everyone has their own unique personality, but that's what I'm hoping we can do, is just start over again. And right now we don't feel like we could ever be happy again, but that's grief talking. Life will always go on. That's what I'm hoping. His nickname was Squawky.
Why?
Because he squawked. He gave us about a 1 or 2 second time frame when he wanted milk or his diaper changed, or if whatever he wanted, he would look and he'd like, with his square little face, he'd like, you know, make a little facial motion, and then I knew that there was going to be a real big squawk, screaming, crying. And so that's hence his nickname, Squawky, because we're like, oh, Squawky needs milk, oh, Squawky needs, you know, a diaper change. And to be honest, sometimes it got annoying, like, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning, Squawky turns on his squawker, and I'm like, oh God, and like you wake up. And now I would do anything to be woken up at 3 o'clock in that morning by that squawk. I would love to just hold him and kiss him and say, like, you are the cutest human being that I've ever seen in my life, and you can squawk whenever you want. And it's just funny how you don't have a true value of life until it's gone. And even looking at pictures of him right now, like I can't stop crying. I've cried for days now.